Hello and welcome to part 3, you might say, of my thoughts on the significance of vinyl. If you want to know why we're here and what this is really all about and the context behind it, check out part 1, and that will give you a bit of build-up to this entire mini-series. Started on Monday, continued on part 2 on Tuesday, and here we are with part 3 on Wednesday. So, where were we? Yes, number 10, identity. Now again, this relates to an earlier point, but again, this is different enough to separate it into its own little slot. And it's this: certain bands are known by the style of their record sleeves on an LP. They are given a brand, an identity by the sleeve art itself. And because that sleeve art is large, the identity is more significant and noticeable. They become almost ingrained in the musical culture. Take artist Roger Dean and his fantasy-based landscapes, which have been used on so many albums by the prog band Yes, that a Yes LP can be spotted at 30 paces. Punk, anyone sporting a Jamie Reed style graphic, is given instant cachet. The Grateful Dead, the skull and skeleton, well, it's all over their works. Iron Maiden has tweaked the same into an official brand via the Eddie character. And look, do I really have to talk about Dark Side of the Moon? Number 11, mood. Now, unless a band is being purposely satirical, let's take Throbbing Gristle's 20 Jazz Funk Greats as one example of that, then a vinyl LP will broadcast the tone of the music, again, at 30 paces, before you even see the band and its title. There is no way you will confuse an album by the Carpenters, for example, with an album by the Cradle of Filth, or with a newly compiled Eurovision collection, for example. And finishing this point at a slight tangent, I remember reading a quote from the founder of Elektra Records, Jack Holtzman, who once said that he couldn't believe that the record industry threw away its fundamental marketing tool, the sleeve of the 12-inch album. Number 12, love marks. Now, I kid you not, love marks is an actual advertising term. It's used by the advertising industry, or at least it was. And vinyl was one of those products which had love marks. In effect, vinyl has marks of ownership, experience. Your CD, your download, your stream sounds exactly like mine, but our vinyl copies, they don't. I know, for example, that there's a click midway through track 2 on mine, but there isn't on yours. Our records have travelled with us through our lives. Our records bear the scars of our lives. They are diaries pertaining to our love of music. Oh, and despite lots of damage, those pops and clicks which are always derided by people who disparage vinyl, our vinyl, even with those clicks, still work. You add a single scratch in the wrong place to a CD disc, or you remove a single bit from a download or a stream, and they're dead in the water. Number 13, respect. A turntable, well, a turntable is a shrine. Now, this does not sound initially like a serious point, but it is. I am making a deadly serious point. A turntable is a shrine, and like any spiritual entity, you have to invest in it before it'll give back. That changes your psychological position. The act of ritual actually focuses your attention. Don't believe me? Well, look how religions work. If you break down how a religion actually works, how it maintains people's focus on the religion, then just look at the template and the detail and how it works. With religion, well, religion says, hey, chum, you want a great harvest? Well, how about a quick sacrifice then? Or you want a great life? Well, I want your time and I want your prayers. You want to feel uplifted? Okay, you sing a few of my hymns. You want to play an original Joni Mitchell pressing from the 60s? Then go to the shelf, search and pull it out. Pull out the inner sleeve, then the record. Place the record on the turntable. Remove breadcrumbs and cat hair from your hi-fi. Lift the arm, then carefully place it on the outer groove. Not the inner groove, it has to be the outer groove. Then come back in less than 20 minutes and do that last bit again. And then I might give you all of my music, if you're a good boy. Now think about all of that. Think about all of those steps you've just done. You have just invested in a moment. It's like a religion. That's what you do with a religion. You invest in it, and with vinyl, you've just gone through each one of those steps. So that being the case, you're going to jolly well sit there and hear the fruits of your endeavours, aren't you? Tell me this, what investment is there in button pressing on a phone? And then why should you stop to hear the resultant music? The phone doesn't care. So why should you? Number 14, the vinyl single. It's arguable that the music charts would never have evolved and achieved a sense of recognition and a level of importance if the vinyl single had never existed. Just think about that for the moment. Then think further about the ramifications of the entire music industry and radio and TV and all the other media and the other millions of spin-offs from the singles and chart industry that might now not even have existed if it wasn't for the 7-inch vinyl single. And finally, our last point, Gravitas. Albums are not respected on a streaming platform because they hold no gravitas. Vinyl gives music gravitas. You feel guilty if you physically skip a vinyl track. Streaming albums end up being nibbled at. You play track 4, then you play track 9, then you dump it for another album. It's like flicking a TV remote. You might as well carve out chunks of dried oil paint from the Mona Lisa with a knife to get a taste of that picture. I don't see a great deal of difference. To conclude this 3-part series, well, an extra rambling word about the well-worn subject of the Loudness Wars. This was a brutal conflict associated with the CD format, also downloads and even streaming. This was a war started not by mastering engineers, as a lot of people think. Mastering engineers are purely paid servants. They are also audiophile scapegoats. The war was started by record producers. Now, why did this happen? Well, I got this from singer and producer Nick Lowe. From the 80s, producers could actually see their music. It was output on a computer screen. Producers, for the very first time, could see the music in picture form as a digital output. And what did they see? Well, they saw lots and lots of empty space, didn't they? They didn't understand that the space represented dynamic range, which equal things like subtlety and sonic contrast. They thought that filling that empty space on the computer monitor, they thought that meant more music, that it provided punch. They didn't understand that punch comes from the performance. Producers wanted louder music because that meant it would be noticed. That meant more sales, which means more money. Never forget, analog did not start that. It was started by digital. And that's it, folks. That's the end of this mini series on vinyl. I hope you liked it. A little bit different, I know, and wasn't sure whether to do these videos at all. So tell me, was I wasting my time? Maybe I was. Maybe I was. I don't know. You can tell me if you like this or not, and whether you'd like to see more. So please, as usual, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Downstairs, if you can, click on the like and subscribe buttons. And also, down in the description, there are chapter headings if you want to bounce around this video. Also, there are links to my Facebook group, which you're welcome to join, and my website. All kinds of stuff there that you don't see here. And my Patreon page, which has exclusive material. I've just done a part 3 of my hi-fi tour, for example. So check it out. Just have a little look. Might be worth your while. Anyway, I'll be back on Friday for another hi-fi news, etc. Lots of goodies in there. And I hope to have your company. So until that time, folks, bye-bye for now.